Hello everyone, today I'm here to do another author's video. If you don't know, I have a series on my channel where I just have, I guess they're called authors. There it is. I talk about a particular author and all of the books that they've written and just my thoughts and feelings about them. I've done a few of these on my channel. I've done Sophie Kinsella, Leanne Moriarty, Frederick Bachman, Taylor Jenkins Reid, and now here we are with Christina Lauren. So if you can't tell, usually a lot of romance authors you'll see because they just write a lot of standalones. For like fantasy series and stuff like that, it's harder because they're series and I feel like I can't really put them all in one video. I don't know. If you have any authors that you want to see in a video like this, please let me know. I'll do my best. I have a lot on my list that I want to do, like Talia Hibbert, Tessa Bailey, Kristen Hanna. There's just a plethora of authors that I really want to get to. But today we're talking about Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren, if you don't know, are two authors comprised into one. They have been working together for quite some time. They collaborate and write many of books together. They have been on the scene since 2013. Yeah, their books have become increasingly popular. If you hear about romance books, you're bound to find a Christina Lauren book in one of the selections or videos that you come across because they are popular and I quite frankly enjoy them. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you about every single book they have written, starting out with their first book they ever published, working up to their most recently released book. And I'm also going to tell you what every single book of theirs is about. And then lastly, I'm going to rank them of my personal scale of my least favorite Christina Lauren book, working up to my favorite. And like I said, my whole goal with this is for you to figure out if maybe you'll like a particular book or not. Maybe you'll want to pick up one or not. Just, get you an introduction to all of their books. So let's get into it because they got a lot. So first up, I don't have these books. They came on the scene with the series Beautiful Bastards, and they have a total of 5 books currently released in this series. And I don't know much about this series. I have not read any of the series, sadly. I don't know if I will or not, but I believe the first one is definitely about like a boss worker relationship. I'm not too sure about it, but that was their first series they released and they've been going ongoing. I think their latest one in the series, I want to say, came out a couple years ago. And they also have the Wild Season series that has currently 4 books in it right now. I don't know much about that. Sorry, with series, especially with romance ones, I feel like if I tell you the first book, it's not going to be the rest of the series. Does that make any sense? They also have 2 like YA standalones. Number one is The House and the other one is Autobiography. Both of them are YA and both of them are very popular. So those are all of them that I haven't read. So I can't really tell you much about them. I don't know much about them, nor can I give you clear ratings on them. But just know those are the very first few books they published. So yeah, let's get into it. So I would say, they've been in the romance game for quite some time. They had the Beautiful Bastards series, but then they released kind of their first foray into more contemporary romance, I guess you could say. And the first one being Dating You, Hating You. So this one's about Carter and Evie, who are like Hollywood agents who work at opposing agencies pretty much in Hollywood. And their 2 agencies actually merge and they're both fighting for the same job. So they have this attraction to each other and it's going great. And then they learn that, hey, they're going to be fighting for the same job. So it's like, put the brakes on. We hate each other now. So hence the title, Dating You, Hating You. So in 2017, they released 3 books every single year, so get ready. We have Roomies, and this one is about a character named Holland who's really infatuated with this subway musician that she sees all the time, and she's always wanted to go up to him and confess hey, I kind of like you. But then one day he actually saves her from this attack that happens, and she doesn't know how to thank him, and she actually gets him an audition with her uncle who's the world's who's a famous Broadway producer. And so she learns the guy's name's Calvin, that he's really good and that her uncle wants him in the Broadway thing. But turns out Calvin is here on an expired student visa. And so in order to kind of help and repay him back for saving her life pretty much, Holland decides, hey, let's get married so you can stay in the States. And there you go. It's kind of like a fake dating book. And then in 2018, we have Love and Other Words. This one is more of an epic, sprawling love story rather than a cutesy contemporary romance book, I guess you could say. This is about Macy, whose life is going really good. She's just, figured out she's a resident in a pediatrics ward. She's getting married to an older, financially secure man. And then she runs into Elliot, who was the first love of her life. They met when they were younger. They became best friends. They had an amazing love story. And then the night that he professes his love for her, something really bad happens. Then she just doesn't talk to him anymore. So he broke her trust, and now she's running into him again, and they are becoming friends, and Macy's starting to be like, do I really like the life I have now, or am I missing Elliot and all the things that he stood for when I was younger? Quite different from her other books. Like I said, it's a little bit more of like really truly like romance, like, you know, those epic stories. Also in 2018, we have Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. This is about Josh and Hazel who met in college, and they didn't like not like each other, but they were just not compatible. So they didn't really talk to each other. They just kind of hung around each other in different friend circles. And then many years later, they meet up and they become friends again. They're like, hey, you know, we're not compatible, but hey, let's set each other up dates. And so they do that, but every date ends up disastrous. And somehow Josh and Hazel grow closer and closer together because of these failed dates. You can guess what happens from there. In 2019, we have My Favorite Half-Night Stand. In this book, we follow a character named Millie who has this really big group of guy best friends, and they are all single. And basically they decide to, one night, let's make some online profiles because there's this big like black tie event coming up soon and they want to secure dates for it. And right before they do that, Millie and one of the guy friends, Reed, has an amazing night of love, and they just kind of hide it from the group and they don't ever talk about it again. And so when they go to set up these profiles, Millie sets up her profile as her real name, Catherine, and kind of a photo where you can't really tell it's Millie. And who does she talk to on this app? But none other than Reed. So she knows she's talking to Reed, but Reed doesn't know that he's talking to Millie. He thinks he's talking to some woman named Catherine, and he's falling quite fast for her. So awkward situations ensue. And also in 2019, we have The Unhoneymooners. This follows Olive, whose twin sister is getting married, which is great and awesome, but Olive is paired a lot with the best man's brother, Ethan, who, aka, she cannot stand. They loathe each other. So the wedding happens, it's beautiful, the reception comes, then everybody gets violently sick because of, like, I think seafood or something. The only people that don't get sick are Olive and Ethan because they were the only ones that didn't eat. So obviously Olive's sister can't even go on her own honeymoon. So she's like, you're my twin, go ahead, take Ethan's. I don't want my honeymoon to go to waste. So Olive and Ethan go to Hawaii and have to pretend that they are married, you know. And again, with all these books, you can guess what happens from there. And then lastly, in 2019, we have Twice in a Blue Moon, another kind of not cutesy romantic, but more of like an epic romance. Is that the right word? I don't know. So we follow a character named Tate, and Tate meets this guy named Sam on a like vacation that she's going with her grandmother, and she falls in love with him within like 2 weeks, and then she confides into him like her biggest secret, that she is like the long lost daughter of this really famous actor. And the next thing you know, suddenly the news is in the tabloids, so she thinks that Sam has betrayed her and she never talks to him again. Flash forward to many years later, Tate is now about to star in her very first like major picture because she's an up-and-coming actress and she's starring it with her dad. And she steps onto set, she sees the last person she expects to see is Sam. He's also working on the film. Surprise! Basically, it's about their relationship that once was beautiful, but now is messed up, and if she could forgive him and figure out what exactly happened. And first up in 2020, we have The Honey Don't List. This is about two characters named Carrie and James who work for the Trips. Think of Chip and Joanna Gaines, like your pretty much standard HGTV couple. And the Trips have everything going for them. They got TV shows, books, furniture, like you name it, their life just seems picture perfect, and America loves them. The only problem is the Trips hate each other. Like their marriage is not good. So Carrie and James's job is to pretty much keep them like, just like calm down and just not have them expose that they're not the best couple. Basically in this book, the Trips release a brand new book and they have to go on book tour, and both Carrie and James are there to kind of keep things like just calm and everything like that. And of course they start to have feelings for each other in the midst of the Trips being, you know, really unhappy. And their other 2020 book is a holiday book, and that is Anna Holidays. We follow a character named Maylin who loves the holidays. Her family and like her family's best friends and, you know, stuff like that always go to this cabin for the holidays. She gets very excited. And when she goes there this year, she learns, hey, it's going to be the last cabin. It's going to be the last holiday in this cabin because we're selling it. So she's like crap. She's heartbroken. And so as she's leaving the cabin for the holiday, she throws like this thought to the universe, like, show me what will make me happy. And next thing you know, she's waking up on the plane right to the cabin all over again. So obviously it's kind of like a Groundhog Day effect where she has to just keep reliving and reliving the same kind of day and days until she figures out what makes her happy. So there's a lot of romance in this one. Like I said, it's a holiday one. And then we have their latest release, which came out in 2021. It's coming up very, very soon, and that is the Soulmate Equation. This one follows a single mom, Jess, who has a 7-year-old daughter named Juno, and she is quite happy with her life. She helps with her grandparents help raise Juno, and she just doesn't have a lot of time for love. She doesn't have a lot of time for a love life. But then one day she's like, she's like, I'm just gonna do it. She does the spit swab thing for this company called Genetic Alley, and she gets paired up with none other than the company's founder, River. And River and her do not get along. They see very different on different things, but the company's like, hey, we really want to try to boost our marketing, so if you guys would get to know each other, no strings attached, no pressure, we'll pay you. And of course, Jess is a single mom, so she's like, yeah, I kind of need the money. And so as her and River get to know each other, they learn that, hey, maybe, this genetic test was right, and maybe we are kind of meant to be. Those are all the books that Christina Lauren have written. A lot of them. I didn't even go through their series, so I apologize for that, but I'll link them down below in case you want to hear about more information about them. But I'm going to go through the 10 that I have read, because that's right, I've read 10 of these bad boys, and I'm going to rank them from my least favorite working up to my favorite. If you've been on my channel for a while, you already know my favorites probably, but do you know my least favorites? I don't know. We'll see. The first 3 I'm going to talk about are all just kind of my least favorite. They're like in a cumulative spot, honestly. The first one being my favorite Half Night Stand. I did not like this one for the sheer fact of it was kind of like catfishing somebody. Like, it's all about Millie, who gets an online dating profile and starts talking to the guy she just hooked up with, Reed. Only she knows she's talking to Reed, but Reed doesn't know that he's talking to Millie. He thinks he's talking to Catherine. And there's so many chances in this book where she could have come clean about it and just been like, hey, this is me, but she really doesn't. And I feel like that's just very manipulative and just purposely dragging out somebody's feelings. So I just didn't enjoy this one for that sheer matter. Like, I couldn't get behind it. Then another one of my least favorite books is Twice in a Blue Moon. This one, like I said, sounded like an epic, sprawling love story, a second chance romance. I love those. I love any romance. But this one just failed, just didn't hit the mark on me for so many levels. Like, number one, the quick fastness of Sam and Tate falling in love. They were teenagers. They fell in love within 2 weeks, and that was it for them, apparently. And then this huge scandal of her being realized that she's the daughter of this famous film star. It wasn't that good. And I think there are not the best reviews on this. So I know I'm not alone. I wanted it to be so much more, and it wasn't. If you're looking for an epic, sprawling love story from them, keep on watching. Like, my last kind of least favorite is Dating You, Hating You. Like I said, it's their first kind of foray into the contemporary romance genre, and I liked it. I didn't love it. It's been so long ago. I think I read it the year it came out, 2017. So that was a while ago. So I can't remember too much. It just didn't really spark my interest a ton. Sorry. We have what I kind of call the middle of the pack books that I like, I don't love. They're just kind of, like I said, in the middle. There's nothing amazing about them. There's nothing like inherently things I didn't love about them, I guess you could say. First up would be Roomies. It was an enjoyable book, like the fake dating trope. I was here for it, but I think it just kind of got boring for me, and it dragged on a little bit too much. Like, sometimes, like, two people like each other, just tell each other, just talk about it, and they take forever to do it, and you're just like, why this book? But it was cute. It's just kind of a middle of the road one for me. Also, the Honey Don't List. Like I said, this one's nothing inherently bad about this one. It was just okay. I didn't love the romance that much in this one. I wasn't like overly fawning over them. It was just okay. I would have been much more interested in the trips, actually, because the whole book is about how much they loathe each other. I would have really liked to see their relationship being worked upon and maybe like trying to reset themselves rather than the assistants, but that's just me. I just found it just kind of mediocre, okay? And the last 5 books I actually really enjoy. So I've only given I have to look at my list. I've only given, I think, I've given 3 Christina Lauren books 5 out of 5. So those 3 will be my favorite. These next 2 I'm going to talk about, I gave a 4 out of 5. So I really enjoyed them. First up is their newest released, The Soulmate Equation. I really enjoyed this. It's a hate to love romance. And I loved how it was about a single mom and you saw her put her relationship with her daughter first and how her and River just really did not like each other at first at all. But the more they got to know each other, the more they were like, hey, maybe, you know, we're meant to be. It was really cute. I really enjoyed it. Other one that I really enjoyed that I also gave a 4 out of 5 to is In a Holidays, their holiday book. It was a perfect Christmas book in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't mind reading this every Christmas. It was just super cute. It's got a friends to lovers aspect in this. You can clearly guess when you start it, but I really thought it was fun. And I really thought it was fun in the way that since it was kind of like a Groundhog Day where she kept repeating her like week over and over again. And it's got like this fantastical element that's never really explained. It's just kind of there, but it somehow works in the book. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun Christmas book. If you want a cute romantic holiday book, look no further. Then we have my favorites of favorites for Christina Lauren books. My 3 5-stars that I just love. They're my favorites of them. The first one being Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. Oh, I love this one. Another kind of friends to lovers romance where you have Josh and Hazel who are friends and nothing more because they are just so different and opposites that don't attract at all. Yes, they do sometimes. It was just an adorable relationship. Like Hazel is literally Jess from New Girl in this book. Like, I've never pictured Jess as New Girl any more than I have in this book. Like, it is her to a T in this book. And it's just a cute story. The ending in this book, a lot of people do not like because I don't want to spoil it for you. There's a big trope in here at the very end that a lot of people do not enjoy. So maybe research it before you go into it. But I didn't hate it, but I didn't really find it necessary. But I still really love the journey of Josh and Hazel, how they became friends, and then they learn that, hey, we're definitely more than friends. And of course, we have my 2 favorites. These 2 right here. When I think of favorite Christina Lauren books, these 2 are my favorites. And they are so different from each other in the fact of, yes, they're both romance, but this one's more hate to love, kind of, you know, that kind of romance. This one's like a really like kind of sweeping, epic love story, second chance romance book. So I don't know what to put in first spot. Consider them both. I love them both equally. They're both amazing. So I'll start with this one. This one, like I said, it's about Macy who runs into Elliot and she loved him so much. And so this one takes place in like 2 timelines. You get to see Macy and Elliot as they meet and become friends and realize that they, you know, are in love. And then to now when Macy runs into Elliot and her, you know, world is just like woken up because she's like, oh man, this is the only man I've ever truly loved. It is, whew, it's one that's probably gonna make you cry, but gosh, it is a beautiful love story. Like, I love this one to pieces. It's more serious. It's not like as fun and kind of hate to lovey as the other one I'm gonna talk about, but still, if you just want an epic love story, like this will deliver. Another favorite is The Unhoneymooners. If you're looking for a beach read, look no further. Everyone's talked about this one with good reason. This one is a perfect hate to love book, which hate to love is my favorite romance trope of all time. I'll read it all day, every day, forever. But I just loved how it was set in Hawaii. We have Olive and Ethan who just hate each other, but somehow are drawn to each other. And it was just, I loved it so very much. Like, definitely these 2 are my favorites. So if you're looking to start with a Christina Lauren, if you want something kind of light, fluffy, hate to love, go for this one. If you want kind of epic story, go for this one. And just honestly, any of them. I do have my least favorite Christina Lauren books, but overall I enjoy their books. Like, there is not a book that they will release that's like a romance book that I won't read because I enjoy the way they collaborate together. I enjoy their romance stories and they're just fun and quick reads, honestly. I enjoy them a ton. So I don't know, maybe my ranking is different from yours, the same as yours. You probably expected my ranking, but I would love to know what Christina Lauren books you've read. What would you consider your favorite to your least favorite? Please let me know. And if you haven't read them, tell me if I persuaded you to read them, or maybe I persuaded you not to read them. I would love to know that as well. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, if you have any other authors that you want me to do videos on, please leave them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.